Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone back here again tonight with another episode of After the Buzzer, the show where I recap the NBA games from the night, have some fun ones to get into in this episode, and in particular, want to give flowers to one guy who has really taken advantage of the opportunities that he's not just been given, but the ones that he's earned in a big way, having a career night tonight. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. And let's go ahead and talk about it. Coming into tonight's game, the Blazers desperately needed a win as they lost their last 3 in a row. And they've been sliding like crazy ever since they lost Damian Lillard for now an extended period of time. We're not sure when he's going to make his return. Nasir Little is out for a lot of time now. Josh Hart missed the game tonight. Yusuf Nurkic has missed some time. Drew Eubanks. We haven't seen Gary Payton II so far this season. So the Blazers are dealing with a lot. And that's a big reason why they went from one of the top teams in the West to start the year to having now skidded down to kind of middle of the pack in the conference. Same with the Utah Jazz, who started off really hot and due to an injury to Mike Conley have kind of slowed down a lot. Now these two teams are very close in the conference, so both of them really needed a win. Portland ended up coming out on top, in particular due to Anfernee Simons, who had one of the best games, if not probably the best game of his career so far. Anfernee Simons dropped a career high 45 points on 15 of 25 shooting. He shot 7 of 12 from 3. He had 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. In the first half in particular, he was really going off. He had 33 of his total 45 points in that first half, including all 7 of his threes. That's the third most points in a half so far this year, only behind Giannis and Embiid. And if you're in any category with those two guys, you're doing something right. This game was a masterclass and a complete showcase of everything that makes Anfernee Simons so special. He's one of the best perimeter players in the league, period, which is a lot to say because this league right now is more perimeter oriented than ever. We have more talented guards scoring from the 3-point line, spotting up for threes, pulling up, but there are very few players better in the league than Simons at just pure shooting talent from the perimeter. He makes it look so easy. It's so effortless. He has crazy combinations of moves. He can run around a screen, immediately pull it from 3, and his release is so quick that you can't even contest it. He's got sidestep threes. He has step back threes. He can attack you in the mid-range. He's quick. He can attack off the dribble. He really does, and it's not just because they both play in Portland, but he reminds me so much of Damian Lillard. I know he's probably modeled his game after him, being behind him for so long in this rotation, and now when he starts alongside him when they're both healthy, they look like mirror images of each other. If you told me that you took Damian Lillard, made him younger, and basically just put a second one of him on this roster, Anfernee Simons looks exactly like that. I would 100% believe you with the way he plays, and Portland is able to use him in a lot of the same actions that they use Damian Lillard because he has such a similar skill set. So even in games like this where you don't have Damian Lillard, Simons is able to step up and play a very similar role. He might not give you the same level of production every single night, but nights like this, he can sometimes catch fire almost better than anybody in the league. He's had a couple of these scoring explosions this season. He had an insane, I believe it was third quarter about a week ago. He is able to just completely eviscerate a defense over the stretch of about 12 minutes, unlike almost anybody else in the league. He scored like 23 of his points in that first half, just in that first quarter. He made a statement right away. After the first quarter, he was on pace for like 92 points. Now, he definitely did slow down a bit in the second half, not scoring nearly as much, but he still made some huge plays to get the win. They were up 3 with about 6 seconds to go. Utah inbounds the ball to Jordan Clarkson. He goes up for a 3 to try and tie the game. Simons strips the ball from him, forcing the turnover, the third turnover that Portland forced in a row to seal this one out. He would end up hitting the game-sealing free throws too. Just all around a great performance from him, very, very clutch. Also have to give a shout to Jeremy Grant, who had 33 points on 10 of 18 shooting. He's been one of the most underrated guys in the league so far this season, playing at basically a borderline all-star level, stepping up also alongside Simons in a huge way as Portland deals with these injuries. He is going to get a huge bag in the offseason, and he absolutely deserves it. But ultimately, Anfernee Simons is the key to this Portland Trailblazers team, not just now, but in the future. You know what you're going to get with a lot of these guys. When Dame is healthy, he's a monster. Jeremy Grant can play at like a borderline all-star level. Yusuf Nurkic has his flaws, but he's decent. You've got great role players like Josh Hart, for example, Nas Little when he comes back, Gary Payton II. But Anfernee Simons in himself is still very young. Unlike a lot of other guys on the roster, there is plenty of room for him to still grow as a player. Last season, the Blazers finally moved on from CJ McCollum because they let Simons start when Damian Lillard went out with that core injury, and he started hooping. He was playing so well that the Blazers felt comfortable enough to say, okay, we're going to move on from CJ, who's been great here for like 6-7 years at this point. We're going to move him to New Orleans, bring in a guy in Josh Hart, who's really solid and has been great for them when he's played this season, and give Simons some reps. Let him go out there and see what he can do in a season that really doesn't matter. And I'm sure for Portland fans, last year was very, very painful, but it was so critical for Simons to get those reps as the lead ball handler for games like this, where they don't have Damian Lillard. And even when they do have Dame, in moments where he's not on the court, Simons has so much confidence and he has built up such a large repertoire of moves. He was able to go through a lot of ups and downs to truly evolve as a player, grow his game, and become who he is now, a borderline all-star type guard that I believe will make an all-star game at some point in his career. And who knows, he is still very, very young. If he continues to get better and grow like this, maybe someday he becomes an all-NBA player. Now, there are a lot of great guards in the league, so that is not at all a guarantee, or I would even say super likely, but the way that Simons has played, the way that he's able to catch fire, all he needs is one really, really hot stretch for a season, and he could maybe break out to that type of player. And if he's able to do anything close to that, even if he just becomes a reliable all-star caliber guy, this team, their ceiling rises so much more. And who knows, maybe you become one of the more competitive teams in the West, where things feel very, very wide open, not just now, but for the foreseeable future. So overall, shout out to Anfernee Simons. He deserves a lot of love for what he's done this season. A lot of people saw his contract in the offseason as an overpay. To me, it felt right about right, and now it's kind of feeling like an underpay if he continues to perform the way that he does, continues to get better, and I believe he will. In some other league news, you know we've got to talk about the Thunder, who now have won back-to-back games, beating the Timberwolves pretty handily by the end of things. Shea dropped 30 points for the 16th time this season, leading the league in 30-point games. Josh Giddey had one of his best games of the season, dropping 21 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, and 3 of 7 shooting from 3. Easily one of their best games as a backcourt as they continue to grow and build that chemistry. A lot of people have been super harsh on Josh Giddey and the way that he's played this season, forgetting that progress isn't linear. It's going to take time to grow, and as you head into your second season, a lot of teams are going to have figured you out. He has to continue to learn how to grow alongside Shea, who's become a superstar caliber player. So there's going to be some growing pains, and I love the way that Giddey handled things tonight. He looked really, really poised and easily one of his best games so far this season. Also going to give a shout to Jalen Williams, who just won Rookie of the Month, so shout to him. Alongside Josh Giddey, the Thunder have now won 5 of the last 6 Western Conference Rookie of the Month awards, which is incredible to see. Just been great drafting from Sam Presti. And J-Dub was super poised, really took things over in the fourth quarter, leading a huge comeback without Gilgeous-Alexander and giving OKC a lead. I might make a full video on him, so if you want to see that, let me know in the comment section below. The Timberwolves got pretty good games from Anthony Edwards, who scored 26, and D'Lo, who had 27, 3, and 6, before eventually being ejected with 2 technical fouls, which was a theme of this game. There were a lot of technical fouls. Rudy Gobert himself got ejected after getting a flagrant 2, just tripping Kenrich Williams for basically no reason. It looked like Kenrich said something to him, but even then, he like swung his leg out and violently kicked him over. And when Kenrich Williams went over to him, he shoved him. Just a whole weird scenario for a guy that I don't understand why you're doing things like that. It's still a decently close game. They desperately need you out there, missing Karl Anthony Towns. As soon as Gobert left the game, the energy completely shifted. The Thunder were attacking the rim relentlessly. You know Shea loves to do that. Minnesota ended the game with 5 Ts as a team, which was partially due to the fact that they kept just talking to the refs, but also it was more so that the refs are just handing out technical fouls like they were free tonight, which I guess they are, but maybe you should hold on to a few of those for later in the season. You also had the Bucks-Charlotte game where Thanasis Antetokounmpo got a steal at, I believe, the end of the third quarter, and he like slammed down the ball in excitement. It just went to like his head level. It was nothing egregious, and the refs gave him a T. It's just been out of control. There have been crazy technical fouls all season. I understand trying to keep the game, reined in, but let players express themselves. Let guys be frustrated. There was one a few weeks ago where Jason Tatum was mad at himself for making a bad play, for fouling, and he clapped and he immediately got a tech. It's basically if you foul, you get a T. In the earliest game of the day, we had Mavs versus Knicks, with Dallas winning by about 20 points. Luka had his typical game with 30 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Tim Hardaway had 28 and 7. Spencer Dinwiddie had 17, 9 and 9. Just all around a pretty solid game and a big bounce back after a super rough L to Detroit a few days ago. For the Knicks, they just look unengaged at this point throughout this whole thing. In the first half, they were doing pretty well. They're up by, I believe, 12 at the end of the first, and the lead got cut down a bit by halftime. And then in the third quarter, they got outscored by 26 points, and it was over. And they basically just gave up, let things happen. It does feel like Tom Thibodeau might be on the hot seat if they lose a couple more games in this fashion. I would be surprised if he makes it through the season, which is something I actually predicted before the year. I said that he was going to be the first coach fired, and it does feel like we're kind of getting close to that, although Steve Nash already, that whole situation over there, he got fired first, but I could still be right about Thibodeau getting fired at some point. It feels like we're working our way there. Finally, in Raptors versus Magic, I want to give a shout to OG Anunoby, who's been playing depoy level defense all season. Tonight, he had Paolo Banchero on absolute clamps. There was nothing he could do when OG was guarding him. And he's also been stepping it up offensively. He had 32 points, 2 rebounds, and 4 assists in this game. Huge breakout season from a player that feels like he's kind of been building up to it for a couple years now. So shout to OG, just incredible stuff from him. Pascal Siakam had 26, 8, and 10. Scotty Barnes, who's been in a bit of a sophomore slump recently, had 17 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 dimes. Just all around great effort from Toronto, who's been reeling a bit as of recently. And for Orlando, just not much going on right there. You had 18 points from Terrence Ross, 18 from Bol Bol, and nobody else scored over 15. Also, I don't know how Terrence Ross is still in the Magic. I swear he should have been traded like 14 years ago, but Orlando continues to rack up L's as they work towards Victor Wembanyama. Those are all the games I want to cover in detail. Do want to give a quick shout to the Sacramento Kings, who blew out the Los Angeles Clippers, the Bucks, who took care of the Hornets, missing a few of their key guys, resting them on the second half of that back-to-back huge game against the Lakers last night. And then for the Golden State Warriors, Andrew Wiggins had 36, 5, and 2, while Steph Curry had 30 points and 10 assists. Both of them had monster games in a win over the Houston Rockets. Steph Curry, by the way, is almost on pace to tie or even break his 400 threes in a season record, so keep an eye on that. That's all I've got for y'all tonight. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these videos. Comment down below your biggest takeaways from tonight's games. Really appreciate y'all's support as always on these videos, and over this early stretch of December, trying to upload every single day, sometimes once, sometimes twice. Maybe we'll even get 3 times if some trades or something go down, so make sure you tune in every single day. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say it back.